There's really only two religions in the world. And here they are. And Jesus said, I'm not going to go to the passage, but Jesus said, in the latter days, speaking of the latter days, because of wickedness, the hearts of many will grow cold, or there will be a lack of love. Okay?
Matthew 24:12.
Matthew 24:12. The psalmist said, Lord, their heart is like fat, but I love your law. All right, so we have this difference, this dichotomy that really frames the whole Bible. That is, let me put it this way. When Christ said, because of wickedness, that word is really anomia, antinomianism. So we have this dichotomy between antinomianism and love. Okay, is what we have. There's only two religions. There's antinomianism and there's love. And that's it. Well, what is love? If you love me, keep my commandments. Okay? So let me frame it another way. There's, by and large, religions have always been predicated on salvation being this way. There's a starting point, A, where you're saved. And it progresses to B, and salvation is a process. And you're in the middle. Okay? You're in the middle living in this process. 99.999% of all religions in the world, whatever label you want to put on it, has the idea that you can listen to in the sermons of salvation being a progression. Okay? I used to say it myself as a good Protestant. Sanctification is the growing part of salvation. Salvation does not grow. Okay? It's not a tree. All right? Like John Piper says it is. Salvation is not a tree with roots and the fruits that come from the roots. No. Salvation is a one-time event that we call the new birth, to where you are transformed from what you were to a totally new creature. Okay? So it's like this, and I've framed it before as a linear gospel versus a parallel gospel. So you're saved, okay? And you're saved, and you got your life here, okay? And this is glorification, okay? But when you're saved here, this is guaranteed, okay? When you're saved here, this is guaranteed. All right, and another dichotomy, and a way you can frame it is that, and I'm going to talk about this in my talk, things are switched. All right? One of the things that's switched is fear. When you become saved, before you're saved, you fear condemnation. You fear the final judgment. Okay? When you're saved, you no longer fear condemnation. You won't be at the final judgment. Glorification is guaranteed. And your salvation, so this line doesn't indicate a progression of salvation. It indicates a guarantee, like Monopoly. Go directly to wherever, do not pass go, all of that stuff. It's guaranteed. Glorification is guaranteed. And then sanctification runs parallel to your new self, your salvation, and then glory. Okay? In all of the other religions that is progressive, because that you live your life in the middle of salvation progression, your Christian life is really, really tricky. because there's no way avoiding the fact that you're participating in the salvation process because it's ongoing. So sanctification is like a minefield. You've got to have this formula for living your life in a certain way that where the progression of salvation is not upset. Okay? So that's why we've got all of these religions and formulas for getting from point A to point B. But one thing that you need to get you there is the institutional church, because that's why God started that corporation on earth, to help people to get from point A to point B. That's what the institutional church is about. Okay? That's what it's all about, helping people get from point A. And invariably, even though congregants misunderstand what's taught in most of these religions, you don't find out whether you're in or out till you get to the final judgment. And by the way, that's Protestantism. That's Protestantism. If you know what you're talking about in Protestantism. You don't know for certain that you're in until you stand in the final judgment and are judged according to whether or not you lived by faith alone in your Christian life well enough. Okay? So I just wanted to get that in there. Okay?